When that grows, that increases your ability and your capacity to take on more things that are challenging and to push through at will. Whew, I am up, and I gotta tell you, I would have rather poked my eyes out with red hot cigars than got up and did what I did this morning. 18 minutes, quick and dirty, to the point. But here's the thing, as the warm sheets were comforting me, right? A little bit drizzly outside, right? I could have just slept in a little bit longer, 5 minutes longer. But then I realized, and what I've learned from experience, is every time that I don't want to do something, that's the moment that I know that I have to lean in, walk into that void, and push the resistance. Now, what's interesting, before you log off here, is science has actually discovered that inside of our brain, we have two on each side, left and right, what is known as the anterior midcingular cortex, okay? Anterior midcingular cortex. And basically, on both sides of the brain, this indicates your ability to push through at will things that you do not want to do. What they found was that in people that were obese and or out of shape and who were very sedentary, this anterior midcingular cortex was actually very small. Okay? On the opposite side, they found that those, whether it was athletes or those that challenged themselves to do things, now this is the caveat, things that they did not want to do, the anterior midcingular cortex grew. Now, why does that matter, and why does that, this isn't a science lesson, you might be like, okay, get to the point. The point is the anterior midcingular cortex, when that grows, that increases your ability and your capacity to take on more things that are challenging and to push through at will. It's not even, listen, you know my views on willpower, okay? Willpower is not a matter of if you'll fail, but when, right? Your environment is what's going to dictate whether you win or lose, right? Because otherwise, when you operate in an environment that's not serving you, then there's willpower. However, what's beautiful about this is that you can increase your will to either push through things and just live in general. How amazing is that? Meaning every time that you challenge yourself and do things that you do not want to do, your anterior midcingular cortex on both sides increases. So, for me, even though there's been mornings before where I've been guilty of sleeping in, I've been guilty of saying, oh, you know what, I'll get to it later. Later never comes and I'll do it tomorrow. But every time I've learned, but even before the science was recently discovered, I was like, every time I lean into the resistance and do it, I never regret coming in here, right? You may be dragging, like whether it's to do a home workout or anything, like, listen, this is like 1 minute up the road. I get to walk to this. Otherwise, it'd be, in my own sanctuary of when I'm doing it. But either way, every time I'm dragging, every time I lean into the resistance, I never regret following through with what I knew, with what I said I should do, and what I promised myself that I would do. And then the caveat is, and the benefit is that my anterior midcingular cortex grows in the process. So, where right now do you find yourself maybe not wanting to push through things you don't want to do? And where can you start applying it moving forward of every time you feel that resistance, you just, instead of ignoring it, you walk right into the void and face it head on.